Hey, thanks for coming back and checking out Pete's Snakebite Kit. Again, if this is your first time, we're talking about cobras. Mostly my cobra that is now running. And by the way, this was not the first startup. I know you see that a lot on YouTube channels. You didn't want to see the first 20 starts. It was ugly. We're going to talk about some details on that. Stay tuned. All right, so why did they have 20 first starts before I let you guys see this thing? I mentioned this on a couple other videos I've hit before, but here's the latest, and as you can see, it's running. So the Holley plug and play, I like to say, plug it in and start playing with it, see if you can get it to work. Here's what happened, is it was running terrible. Holley wanted me to do an update. They questioned the wiring that I had done on it and checked that. That was all right. They asked me to do something different. That made no difference, and on and on and on. I mean, a dozen phone calls. Finally, one of the guys said, hey, pop the air cleaner off, look down the throat, and 2 of the 4 injectors were working. So it was, lean and rich and going all over the place. Sent it back to them. In pretty quick time, they fixed it, sent it back. Put it in, it ran better. It did not run right, though, I can tell you. So I kind of suspected the injectors, so I went right to that. And it had 3 of the 4 injectors working, one of them not working. Called them, they said, let's just send you a whole new system. Holley, to their credit, they sent me a whole new sniper system. Just sent the old throttle body and whatnot back, which was great. So, got that in. It ran pretty good. Not great. That thing was stuck at 35 AFR, so it was very, very lean. We'll talk about how the oxygen sensor reads that and so on. And I thought, are you kidding me? Well, I had 2 oxygen sensors now. I had the old one and I had the new one. I put the new oxygen sensor in, bang, it was 12.7. The thing runs beautiful. Wish I had the rest of the things done on it so I could take it out and spend donuts in it, but we'll go over my to-do list in just a minute. So I talked about having a lean fuel system and having a bad oxygen sensor. I said that wrong. The computer was saying it's lean and it had a bad oxygen sensor. So I'm going to try and explain all this.
Inconceivable! You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Anyway, here's basically how a system works. When it goes lean, in other words, there's not a lot of fuel in it, the oxygen goes up because you're trading off fuel for oxygen. So oxygen goes up, voltage goes down, it can go as low as 0 volts. When it's rich, right, a lot of fuel, that means there's not much oxygen. So the oxygen goes down and voltage goes up. It can go as high as 1 volt. So it's oscillating back and forth between here and sending signals to the computer. It's saying, hey, there's a bunch of fuel in here. We've got too much. Pull it back, make it leaner. Or in my case, it thought it was very lean because it had a bad oxygen sensor that was creating no voltage at all. So it was saying, hey, we're very lean. So it was adding a bunch of fuel. I've done a couple oil changes already on this thing because it dumped a bunch of fuel and the oil smelled like fuel, and we don't like that. So a couple things I've gotten done here since I saw you last that got me to where it can kind of run under its own power. I'll show you. The fuel tank actually had a leak in it. Now this tank came from Hurricane. Before you think anything bad about Hurricane, they had a new vendor that was bending up the pieces for the fuel tank, and the vendor said, hey, we can weld these. They used to weld them in shop. They welded them, and I didn't think the welds looked that great when I looked at it, and I was right, and it had a fuel leak. Instead of shipping it back and forth to Hurricane, I found a guy here local, Spectre Design. I'll show you their website, and they were able to weld the tank up and make it right. And then, Hurricane paid for that, which was great. Saved shipping the tank back and forth. So the other thing I got done was hard lines for the cooling system. I'll show you those. Also got those welded up at Spectre, and that's what got me to the point where the thing can hold coolant, it'll hold fuel. The fuel system works. I was able to fire this thing up. When I lived in Southern California, I had a couple friends that really are master fabricators. Here in Utah, not so much. Spectre Designs was a big find. These guys did some fabricating for me quickly. I thought at a reasonable price and did exactly what I asked them to do. If you need something done, check them out. So here's for the top hose. And I got these aluminum tubes made up and then got that bung, and then Spectre welded that all together for me and came out at exactly the right angle and height. They did a great job on that. And then I got this bottom tube made from a radiator shop, but I had to change that around because I swapped radiators, hose on the different side, and Spectre shortened that and redid it for me. So I think that looks great. Okay, I've got the throttle linkage kind of roughed in there. So on this, I don't have it completely hooked up. I don't have the pedals completely done there. Heat Tech in California made this bracket to stand that off of the box. It was the way Hurricane had it set, it was too low, and the valve cover that I've got, it wouldn't clear it because it's a taller valve cover than they estimated. In quite a while on my videos, I kind of went out on a limb and said how long I thought this thing would take me to get done. Forget it. Things take as long as they take. I'd kind of forgotten that this thing really is about the journey. You know, a lot of my life was spent getting cars ready for races, getting motorcycles ready for races, or being a technician for a living, and everything was a deadline. There's no deadline on this. I'm trying to enjoy this, but I do want to get it done. As you can see, I'm pretty close to a point where I can make this thing move under its own power and see what it feels like. So here's kind of next steps. I've got the body on, as you can see. I need to get the body off of it. Once I get it off, there's a piece on the tub that I've got to seal to the frame to get that sealed up. Then I've got some aluminum trimming that I need to put on in the inside of the engine compartment. Then I've got some hydraulic cans that Hurricane got me that are the original Girling hydraulic cans for the brake cylinders and the master. Then I'm going to blow out the hard lines on the brakes and bleed those, adjust the prop valve. I need to get the steering column all in and set up and get that throttle linkage finished up. When I get that done, this thing's going to be body off. It's going to go for a drive. We're going to have some fun. We'll see you on the next one. Hey, thanks for watching.